Okay, so we are recording. So tonight I just kind of want to talk about kind of like a recap about the nutrition. We're going to touch on TB mindset. We have some new challengers in the studio. We've got a new challenge that is starting tomorrow in the Challenge Tracker app. So for anybody who is watching the recording of this, Angela, Samantha, both of you guys are, I think you're already in those groups. Sam, I don't know if you're in there or not. If you're not, if you want to be in it, let me know for the 3-week challenge. So anybody who wants to be in that, it's never too late to get added in. So just tell me. We start tomorrow. There's already a few videos in there for you to watch just so that you can kind of catch up. Won't take very long to do. So you kind of have an idea of how to post in there, all that good stuff. But I do want to touch on the nutrition side because I feel like that's like the biggest struggle, right, that people have. I know during the workout, it's hard to do. We have to deal with the motivation of getting up and physically taking the action to do it, putting on your workout clothes. Like that in itself is a struggle. But once you press play, like that's pretty much a done deal. Over and done, an hour at the most, but it's finished. We have to deal with the nutrition side of everything all day, every day. And it's kind of like, you know, when people always say, and I'm not saying that this is equivalent to this because I know for sure it is not, but I will just kind of make a little bit of a loose reference. So please, when I make this reference, don't think that, oh my gosh, he thinks it's the same, because I'm not saying that. However, you know, when people have drug or alcohol problems, they can literally stay away from the bar. They can stay away from people who drink a lot around them, people who offer them drugs and alcohol. They can kind of close themselves off, and if they choose to, obviously, that's a life choice, but they can remove themselves from the situation. I feel like, at least the way that I see it, the nutrition side, you have to fuel and feed your body every single day. So every single meal that you have to eat, you have to think and decide and make the choice whether or not you're going to make a right choice, whether or not it's going to be a healthy choice, or whether or not you're just going to, you know, throw caution to the wind and eat all the crap. So those are things that, you know, you have to look at it. And I'm not saying that we have to look at it like we're addicts, because we're not. But you have to be aware that, you know, if you've had struggles, long time struggles with food, every single decision you make is based on how you want to be in the future. It's based on what you've done in the past. So as soon as you break those cycles, the easier it's going to be. Now, I also am very aware it is the holiday season, and I am going to be making chocolate chip cookies when we are off this call, because Kaylee has a bunch of friends at our house right now. I can guarantee you 500,000% I'm going to have at least 2. And I know that next weekend we are going to be making brown sugar cookies, and those are my favorite. However, I also know that I've dialed in my nutrition all day. I've meal prepped everything for the week. I've got a few things to do tomorrow, but I've set myself up for all of those other days to stay on track. Now, like I said, I get it. It's the holidays. We're not really dialed in 100%. And that's totally fine, totally okay. But if you're one of those people who are thinking, you know what, I'm going to just let it kind of go these last few weeks, and then I'm going to dive in January. That's awesome. That's great. But be mindful that you can very easily, very, very easily gain 5 to 10 pounds. If your body is anything like mine, if I were to go off the rails for a whole week, 7 days, go completely off the rails every single day, eat every sweet that is presented to me, eat all of the cookies, all of the pies, I will gain 10 pounds. and it's going to be a lot harder. It'll take 3 or 4 weeks for that to come off. And I know that that is not how I want to start my new year. So enjoy those things, but be mindful of how much weight you might want to gain. Be mindful if you are in a place where you just want to maintain, or be mindful of being in a place of weight loss, because you can still have those things as long as you just keep it very small, taste the things, and just be aware of what you are deciding to do. But be intentional with your eating. Plan out when you are going to have those not so healthy foods. Plan it out so that you won't binge and you won't all of a sudden like, oh my gosh, I need to eat all of this because I don't know when I'm going to have it again. Plan it. Know that you're going to have the pie on Wednesday night. That is a mindset thing that you have to work on. So if you know that it's coming up, it's like you can anticipate it and you're not struggling with telling yourself, no, I cannot have this ever again, because that's not true. I like to say I can have that, I just can't have it right now. Or I can have that on Wednesday, it's only Monday, I'm gonna go ahead and pass this time so that I know that I can enjoy it guilt-free when that time comes. So I wanna touch really quickly on the portion control containers, because I personally am bringing this back in. I have found myself, and I'm gonna be really honest about To Be Mindset right now. Here's the thing, I love the program. I love the mindset part of it. I think it is amazing, but I also am finding that for me, I like the structure of knowing that this is how much protein is. I like the structure of knowing that this is my fruit, this is my veggies. I like to know that when I do my rice, it goes into this. So what I have been finding, and I have talked to you guys, I have talked to so many people. I would say hundreds, but that's not necessarily true. It's probably not hundreds, but it might be 100 or so. And I've been asking a lot of people how they feel about this, and how, if they are somebody who's like me, a lot of you guys are like me too. That's why we have connected, because we like systems and we like to plan things out, and you like to have that structure. And for me, that keeps me on track. It makes me feel like I am successful in what I'm doing, to know I didn't overeat that rice. Because what I've been doing is, when I look at my plate and I'm like, okay, so I can have 1/4 of my plate is rice. Well, my friends, I can tell you that I can stack rice this high and have it fit in a corner of my plate. So I know that, and this is something that when I lost 30 pounds using these container systems, I was very specific and I was very dialed into the portion sizes of things. So if you have an issue with overeating and binge eating, my suggestion is go back to the portion control system. And here's the other thing, and here's what is amazing, and I know I've said this somewhere, I don't know if it was in our group, it could have been a live on my Facebook, but I have the nutrition guide for Transform 20. And there is a part in here where they give you 3 sample day meal plans right here. And it tells you how many reds, how many yellows, how many fruits for your breakfast, for snack, for your lunch, for your dinner. You guys want to know, it's really cool. Have you gotten this yet, Samantha? It's awesome. So this is the To Be Mindset. All of the container systems, the way that it's broken down is To Be Mindset. So for example, your dinner is always going to be a protein and your vegetables. Your carbs are always before dinner. There are no carbs in any of the dinners that are on here. Your breakfasts are your protein and your FFCs, which are yellows and purples. So when I looked at this, I was like, oh my gosh, it makes freaking sense. So here's the thing. And Angela, I'm going to pick on you for a second. But I'm going to say this. I am so freaking proud of you for logging your foods every single day. I cannot even tell you how proud of you I am with that, because I know that that was a struggle, and that is something that you have been so consistent with, and it's amazing. But I also want to point out that a lot of what you're logging and tracking, number one, is not to be mindset, and your portions are all over the place. So those are just things that, you know, we've always said, baby steps. You got to take baby steps, and it's one thing at a time. And that's awesome, and that's great, but at some point you got to then get back out of your comfort zone and start really trying to focus and dial in so that you start to see a weight loss, so you start to feel the energy, so you start to feel better about yourself. Because when you follow a program, when you are dialed in, and I've been using these containers since yesterday, and I'm just excited because it's almost like a new thing again, right? But when I look at my plates and I'm like, this is the Tubi mindset. Like, hello, like this makes sense. But I also know and am aware that I have been overeating. And even though I have been losing weight, it isn't like these big numbers. I mean, it's like 1 pound a week. And that's fine, but that is not where I want to be. I'm like, I got to get this weight off. And I'm giving myself a little bit of grace because it's December. My wins right now are that I have apple pie in my refrigerator and I'm not eating it. Like, that's a win. You know, the fact that I have a refrigerator stocked with healthy food, that's a win. Earlier today, I threw out a bunch of the bread that we had in our house from this last week that my kids wanted. I bought, they didn't eat. I'm like, get it out of here. I don't want to see it anymore. So, you know, those are just things that and decisions you have to make, but know that you have to keep moving in a forward direction. And when you realize that, oh my gosh, I'm eating these crappy foods, I don't feel good, you know, those are things that eventually you are going to feel and remember and go, you know what, I think I'll eat only half a piece of pie, or maybe I'll have just a bite rather than eating half the pie and feeling like crap. And those are mindset things. And those are things that will come as you follow the program, as you keep trying to dial it in, as you're doing one more thing, adding one more thing week after week. But if portion control is your issue, I'm going to tell everybody right now, I do believe that you should go back to the container system. And Sam, you're shaking your head because I think maybe you feel the same way that I do with the Tubi mindset. It's so not structured, and I need structure. It makes me feel better mentally to know I am on track. I didn't just pile on all my rice. I'm good to go. What are your thoughts on it?
So for me, my biggest struggle with Tubi mindset was the whole plate it. Like, this is how you plate this meal. This is how you plate this meal. But I'm like, but my plates at home are this big. So yeah, 25% of that plate can be, you know, your carb. But in reality, that's probably half a plate. So I struggle with that. And I feel like workout side, I have not struggled. But since starting, I think it was July, we started Lift 4, I've struggled because Lift 4 had I like the containers. It's a check-off system for me. And Lift 4 removed those containers from me because he wanted to make it so simple because, you know, he's a man. So that's how he viewed that. You know, he wanted to do it a certain way, and that's fine.
Pizza and beer on cheap.
Yeah, and that threw me off. I can't structure that way. I just can't. So I've done the Lift 4 workouts since because I absolutely love the program. And I like following the full thing. So if I'm doing this program, I want to do this nutrition. But his nutrition program, it just sucks. I get it. It's the same, but it's not. So I'm going to try to do, so that's when I tried, okay, well, I'll do 2B mindset with Lift 4. And it was just like you said, I'm stacking, or I'm using this big of a plate or whatever. So I tried to revert back to how 80-day obsession nutrition was, because I don't have to guess what containers to put together. I don't have to do it this way. So I was hoping when I got my Transform 20, which I think it'll be here Monday, that it would go back to, here's your containers you can have.
Yeah.
I would like it more toward 80-day obsession, where it's like, here's your containers, this is what you can eat for this meal, this meal. But if not, at least give me my container count and make it normal.
So here's what I've noticed. I've done a lot over the last week about nutrition, and I've tried to figure out a few things that just in how, because Portion Fix, so I whipped out my Portion Fix book. And this actually is what everybody gets now with your challenge packs. If you're getting the all access challenge pack, this is what you're going to get. This works for every single program. There is a part in here that says, are you low intensity workouts, high intensity workouts, medium? Do you sit all day? Do you walk a lot? Like, you can figure that part out. And here's the thing. The truth is, there isn't much of a difference between plan A and plan B and plan C and plan D. So if you follow the program, it's not going to be like, oh my gosh, I think I'm high intensity, but I might be medium intensity, and I don't know which one to pick. Pick one and see how it works for you. And when we did 80-day obsession, I actually was up in the higher category of eating food. So it just depends on your body. It depends on the program that you're doing, but that's what we're here for. That's why you go into the group, or you message me and you say, I'm struggling with the meal plan. Let's talk about it. What plan should I be following? This is what I'm doing. I am very confident about the container system. Like I said, I have followed this. I have done 21-day fix twice, dialed in my nutrition every single, like to the T. Did 80-day obsession for freaking 79 days. I hate that I have to say that, but it's the fact. Dialed in the nutrition, followed the count. It can be done. And if you use them and you follow that, you absolutely 100% can lose weight and stay on track with that. Now, I know that 2B mindset, here's an option. So you know, in the mornings you have a protein. You know that you have an FFC. That's how your plate should be. It should be half protein and it should be half FFC. That's what these are, basically. So you know that what fits in one of these containers, by the way, if you don't have the containers, that's okay. You can get them on Team Beachbody. I want to say they're like $7. Like, they're not very expensive if you want them. But if you don't want to buy these, then you can, I have the equivalents, the size equivalents to these. Like, this is a cup. I think this is 2/3, or maybe this is 2/3. I can't remember. But I have the equivalents in the units section. I'm going to touch on that here in just a few minutes, and I'll remind me if I don't remember to show you where that is. But the equivalents are there. So if you don't have these, you can still use them. So when you know that you are needing half your plate needs to be this, and then your other half has to be these two, know that you need 2 of these, you need 1 of these, and 1 of these. That's 2B mindset. That's how it works. That's how you know that your portions are equal. Now, I don't want to get totally like into all of that, because I don't want to confuse people who are like, what the hell is 2B mindset? Because I know a lot of our people are my newest clients that are in our group, or who will be watching this recording. They have the containers and they're not doing 2B mindset. So if you are going to do that, know that, ask me. I am an open book. I've never not responded to somebody. for more than 24 hours. And if that's the case, I was probably sleeping. So message me if you have questions. Ask the questions in the group, because like I always say, that's what that group is for. You know, ask your questions in there, because you're going to get an answer from me. You're going to get likely an answer from somebody else. And sometimes somebody else's answer is going to resonate with you a little bit more. And I don't know everything. So somebody else might have something else to offer and make sense to you as well. So that's, I just want you guys to know that this is your group. And I know I say that all the time, but it is. This is for you guys to, you know, if you see something, share it. If you have a resource or a tool that you've created or you want to share it in the group. Everybody would like to hear that. That's what we're definitely there for. So one last thing about the containers, you have a container list. If you are doing the portion fix, you have a list of items that are, hold on, let me show you. So you have food lists, so you know what the veggies are. You know what your fruits available are. I'm showing you this. This is the Lift 4 nutrition plan. But you have these lists. This list is also in a picture in the unit section. So if you don't have a book, or if you don't have portion fix, this is in the unit section too, by the way. If you don't have this, it's also in there. But you can look in the program materials for every single program. The nutrition guides are there. And the majority of the people who are in our group are people who want to lose weight, people who want to get healthy, people who want more energy and to feel better. And you guys, the way to do that is by what you're putting into your mouth. That is the bottom line. That is the truth. And some of us don't want to believe that. Like, a lot of people are like, no, I'm going to work off this weight. You're not going to work off the weight. Because what's going to happen is you are going to get more hungry because your body needs more fuel. And if you have bad habits and your habit is to go for more carbs than it is to go for more protein, more vegetables, then when you're going to overeat because you're hungrier, because your body needs more fuel. You have to understand nutrition and the systems that we have in place. Once you know it and understand it, it's so simple. I mean, I can't, you have to take the time. Yeah, it might take you 30 minutes of physically sitting down in a quiet place, open your book or go into the program materials and read it. Read from cover to cover your nutrition plan. It is worth it. It is absolutely worth it to know the guide, to understand the guide, to understand what clean eating actually is, because this is knowledge that you are going to take with you for the rest of your life. Portion control containers taught me what clean eating was. It taught me what portion sizes were. I needed to be reminded of that for sure. So I can fall back on the tools and the resources that I have, the tools and the resources that I taught myself, you know, years ago when 21 Day Fix came out. So if I can do this, you guys can do this too. It's an easy read. It's not super complicated. I feel like we all like to complicate everything, and this system is really simple. So if you need a protein, let's say you need a protein, you go to your food list. To Be Mindset has the same thing. It has food lists too. If it fits in this container, you can eat it. Hold on, my daughter's calling me. I'm gonna shut the door. Hold on a second, sorry. I'm on a call. Sorry. So if you need a protein, go into the food list. If it's something that's not gonna fit into this container, it's gonna tell you how much one serving is worth. So the bottom line is, if it fits into the container, you can have it. If your rice fits into this container, you can have it. So go to your food lists, see if it fits in the container, put it on your plate. We don't eat out of these. You can, I mean, if you want to. My suggestion is put it on a plate, because if you pack this with rice or quinoa and then you dump it onto a plate, it looks like it's 3 times the size of this little container. And Autumn says, if you can pack it in here and you can close the lid, then you pack it up as much as you want. That's 1 serving. Okay, so it's very simple. It is very simple. If you need to know how many containers you get each day, again, every single plan has that. And it's going to tell you, you know, if you, so what they'll do is it'll say, you know, what kind of calorie bracket you fall into. So the page before this is you figuring out what your calorie bracket is, and then you go here and you choose your calorie bracket, and it's going to tell you if you have 4 veggies, 3 fruits, 4 proteins, 3 carbs, and then you break those up throughout the day. There are examples of how to break these up in your meal plan. So look at it. That's why I say read the materials. The material has so much information, so many tools and resources for you that you've got to plug into that. You can't just, well, you can. Obviously, if you're like, you know what, I'm just kind of feeling my way around things, that's okay. But if you really, truly want to dial in and you want to know and understand the nutrition, you got to read your stuff. You got to read your Getting Started Right guide. You got, because even the things that, like the small tips from the trainers, like those things are really, really helpful. So read those things, understand it, know it. You're going to have these resources for the rest of your life. And, you know, one of the things with To Be Mindset, when in the very beginning, because I've lost 15 pounds with To Be Mindset, so I knew, because I had the base knowledge that really, I know how much a protein is. I know how much yellow is, but I got very lax with it. And I got, well, I'm already losing weight, so yeah, I'll just eyeball this really. So that is why I'm saying it's really a good idea to understand what your portions are. It's going to be helpful to you in everything that you do. So understand those things, and if you need help with it, let me know. So I'm not going to do the nightly trackers anymore. My intention was for everybody to post in that and then kind of scrutinize everyone's thing, especially for if I am hearing that I'm not losing weight and I don't know what the problem is, and then I don't have a tracker to go back and look at. It's hard to say, well, it's because you're overeating this, or it's because you're overeating that. So Angela, I want you, when you start like dialing it all in, I want you to, in Messenger, message it to me. Send me your tracker so I can see what you're doing. Because I want to keep you, number 1, still logging everything, because that's so important to do. But just send it to me directly, and then we can go through and, you know, talk about the things that can be tweaked. So let's see, what else was I going to talk about? So yeah, so when you send, so when you have like, you're like, oh my God, I had a really good day, send me your tracker, because I want to make sure that I can see it. Now, I have a few people who didn't want to post their trackers in the group. That's fine. You can still continue to send those trackers to me, and we can still scrutinize each day. But I've talked to some of you guys on the side, and you guys are going to start using these again to at least measure your stuff. So I think that's really going to help everybody in the long run. Okay, so I want to show you, because we have so many resources, and I have struggled with how much information to give. And here's the thing. I'm just going to give you the information. You guys will read through what you need. You guys will read through things when you need them. So I want to make sure that you know that in the studio, you have the units section here. In the unit section, there are lots and lots of things for you to go through, lots and lots of things for you to read. If you are brand new to meal planning and prepping, this is a great unit for you to go into. We have all kinds of things in this unit. Pick and choose what you want. Go through them from the top to the bottom. I've kind of gone in and they're pretty much the things that I think are really important are closer up to the top. And, you know, the things that maybe aren't as important are down at the bottom. But maybe you want to start thinking about mason jar meal prepping. Well, if that's the case, then I've got information for you in here. You just go in and you take a look at that. Maybe you look at that before you look at the smoothie bags. So the information is in here. I want you guys to know this so that if you're feeling like you need a little bit of motivation or inspiration, go in here and take a look. Now, there is a section in here that is called downloadables. It's down towards the bottom right here. I've got 2 meal planners that I use every single week. We have the daily meal planner with the container count. I changed the titles so that we would know quickly which one's which. So we've got the with the container count and without the container count. So if you're using To Be Mindset, then you can use the one this one right here, where there isn't any containers broken down in here for you. If you are using the container system, then the way that I do it is I just circle how many I get each day, and then I put an X through it when I have eaten it. The way that I do it is I print 2 of these out every single week, and one is my game plan, and the other is my actual, this is what I ate. So this is kind of like my log. So I hope that makes sense. So just know that these downloadables are here for you. Check them out. The Portion Fix Meal Guide, this book right here, it's right here. I've downloaded the whole thing for you. So if you don't have this book, you can go in and you can print it out if you want. You can just look at it on your computer or your device. That's totally fine too. Now, I said I was going to show you the, let's see, right here. So these are the container counts right here, the portion control container sizes. It's in the meal planning and prep. So if you don't have those containers, then you can just come in here, and this is what they are right here. All you need is a measuring cup, right? So that should be helpful to you too. Your Shakeology, your beach bars, those are red. Now your recipes, so we've got recipes in here. We also, you can find recipes in Beachbody On Demand. I'm gonna stop sharing here. You can find recipes on Beachbody On Demand. Those work for To Be Mindset too. So when I went in and I was looking through different recipes, I'm like, that works too. That works too. You just don't eat carbs in your dinner meal. That's the bottom line there. So choose the recipes that don't have carbs in it, and you're following the To Be Mindset. But go into Fixate, watch the videos there. There's downloadable PDFs if you want the recipe from something that's being made. Personally, I think it's fun cooking when other people are cooking too. So you can pop on a video and then do your own prep there, or cook that meal and watch Autumn and her brother in Fixate. The Beachbody blog has a bunch of recipes. So for anybody who is just starting out, I always suggest that you keep it simple. Keep it really, really simple. If you are brand new to clean eating, if you are brand new to the portion control system, very simple. Have proteins available. Have veggies available. Have fruits available. So those things are ready for you when you need them. You decide if you want to do a buffet style meal prep, which is how I do things now, because I don't have to leave my house very often to go to work because I work from home. We don't have hockey practice where I'm having to prep 2 meals because we're there for hours on end. So I don't have to do the individual, you know, portioned out meal prepping. I don't do that anymore. But I have information in that meal prepping and planning in that unit. There's lots of information there and lots of tips to go through as well. But in the beginning, always keep it really simple so you know that you need grilled chicken in here, it's already done, and you just shove it in here and you know that you're good to go. So always make sure that you at least have items for your portion controlled containers or items for your To Be Mindset plan on hand and in stock. Whether it's prepped or not, at least have it in your house. I suggest prepping it, but you know, you don't have to do that obviously if you don't want to. Okay, I think that's all that I really wanted to talk about here. Oh, one more place to find recipes are in the program materials for all of the programs, all of the fitness programs in the program materials. You'll find in the nutrition guide, they all have recipes. So if you want even more recipes, you can go in there too. Yeah. Okay. Any questions? Any comments? Anything? No?
Oh.
Good. Go ahead, Angela.
Are you going to be doing the Beachbody tracker?
What do you mean?
You know, when we say we did our workout and our shake, it's on our cell phone?
Oh, yes, I am. So that's the 3-week challenge group. I know for a fact that I've added you in there. So you should see it on your phone. It should be there.
Okay. So did we already start that?
It starts tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Are you going to be on, when do you get on Zoom to work out?
So I'm not going to start doing the early morning workouts until January 14th.
Okay.
But Carla, she still runs those Zooms.
Yeah.
So if you want to work out at that time, work out at that time. Like today, I think I worked out at like 3 o'clock. My schedule is kind of all over the place right now. But January 14th, I'm definitely going to start working out earlier in the mornings for sure.
Okay.
Might not be 7, or 7 my time. It might be 8, but we'll see. We're slowly trying to get back into waking up super, super early. It's really hard when you get off that early morning train to get back on it. So, but January 14th for sure. I'm definitely going to do that. And you are welcome to go into that early morning Zoom when the girls are on.
Okay. Okay, yeah, that was it.
Okay, awesome. Let me know, Angela, if you don't see the challenge, the December challenge in your app. Let me know, and then we can make sure you're logging in with the correct email and password. And it's whatever one we did last time, because all I did was copy and paste it.
I like the containers too.
Yeah.
I'll start using them because I don't know. It says 25%, 50%, and I'm like, what is that? I mean, the containers, I can see it. And the percentage, it's like, I can't see it. I don't know.
Like, yeah, here's my plate. It's this big. And okay, yeah, that looks like that's a quarter of my plate. Yeah, I know. You know,
I like the containers.
One of the things that I learned many moons ago from Weight Watchers, the one thing that was a good takeaway from that, because eating Skinny Cow ice cream sandwiches all day long because it fits into your point system is not healthy and is not a good way to lose weight. Works, but you'll gain it all back because that's the most unhealthy way to lose weight. But
I haven't bought any candy.
You what?
I haven't bought any candy.
Good. That's step in the right direction. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So they said it takes time to know what your body feels like when it's just not hungry. So there's a fine line between I am stuffed and full to my body is fueled with the right amount of food to keep me sustained and have energy. And it's a feeling that you'll understand when you got your container count and you know how much food you're actually supposed to be eating, when you know that you have a balanced diet, and that's also key. Because when you have 1,500 calories that you need to eat every single day and you eat it all in protein, you're lacking so many other nutrients from things like your vegetables and your fruits. So the portion control system very much balances your diet out for you, and it makes it, I just spit. Did you guys see that? That was gross, sorry. I was like, did you guys just see that big white thing on the screen? So, but knowing that you have eaten the correct amount of calories, balanced calories, you have to start feeling what your body feels like just to be fueled. And a lot of times hunger comes from boredom. Hunger comes from habits that you've created in the past. Hunger comes from cravings for the sugary things that you're wanting but aren't actually needing. And when you realize like, oh my gosh, I'm not hungry, but I'm not stuffed. I think that for me, that was a big deal. I'm just eating to fuel. I'm not eating to stuff myself. When you're sitting there and you're like, oh, I can't take another bite. Like, that is not a good feeling to have, because by the time you get there, your body can't even do anything with all of that extra food that you've eaten, which is why it becomes fat, because your body can only process so much. It just becomes fat because it sits in your system. So that's just something to kind of be mindful about when you're eating. You know, when you're counting your calories and you not counting calories. We don't count calories. Angela, we don't count calories. I take back saying those words because I don't want you going back to calorie counting. When you start eating the appropriate containers for where you should be and what plan you should be eating in, that's what I mean. Make sure that you stay on track.
Well, another thing why I like the containers, I'm not eating enough vegetables, and the container's green, so I know I need to put vegetables in that.
Yeah.
And I like the colors because it reminds me I need to eat vegetables, I need to eat fruit. And with the plate system, it's like, I like the containers better.
Okay, so
I think I'll be eating vegetables that way.
You can eat, or you can take a lot of the principles for To Be Mindset, and that's a lot of what I'm going to start incorporating into everything. Pretty much is we're going to start talking more about nutrition, because the further along in my journey I go, the more I am realizing, as much as I don't want it to be, nutrition is everything. It is everything in living a healthy lifestyle. And I love the prepping part. I love all of that stuff. And I think that the To Be Mindset principles, we are going to start incorporating that into the container system, because it's the same deal. You still should be doing veggies most, right? You still should be drinking all of your water. You still should be drinking your 2 cups before you even sit down for a meal, 10, 15 minutes before you eat. That is a good principle to have. I still like weighing myself every single day because it keeps me on track. It makes me know that I can't super binge out tonight because I know it's going to show up on the scale tomorrow. I also know that if it does, that's not the end of the world. I make better choices the next day. I love that aspect of knowing that I have to weigh myself in the morning. And I know a lot of people say, you know, that's a very controversial part of the program was, oh, it's so unhealthy to be reliant on that number. It's not being reliant on the number. It's being reliant on the plus and the minus. It's being reliant on where your body is at with the ratio of what you're eating and what you're doing and the choices that you're making. I just had a thought and I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, I like to weigh every day.
Yeah,
because
and I remember back to the Weight Watchers thing where 2 days before I knew weigh-in, I would starve myself. I'm like, okay, I can do that. The minute we weighed in, we would go out and eat. And we'd eat shitty food for 2 days, 3 days, and then starve yourself. Like, it's that is knowing that you have to make a specific weight by a certain day. That just leaves so many options for you to binge and purge, basically. It's not purging. I never had that issue, but it's a way to eat and then starve yourself, eat and then starve yourself. And that is very unhealthy. So it has definitely made me mindful in the choices that I make every night, because if I do eat carbs at night, I see it on a scale the next day. Another amazing thing that I have learned about me and my body, and I now know what triggers me to eat unhealthy food. I know what triggers me to, or how my body's going to respond when I overeat carbs the night before. But I also know that that's going to come off in 2 or 3 days if I continue on eating healthy and a balanced diet. So it's all about learning what's going to work for your body. And the container system works for everybody, and you'll tweak it as you go. And if you need an extra veggie or an extra protein because you feel hungry, and those are things we'll talk about. If you're like, I'm following plan C and I'm starving, well, we'll talk about it. What kind of starving are you? Are you bored starving? Or are you physically starving and you have no energy and you're listless and you can't push through a workout? Like, I've done the 2B Mindset certification, and I now know the questions to ask to figure out what kind of hungry you are. Because there are lots of different kinds. So, but those are things that you got to tell me what's going on and let me know so we can work your way through it. Okay.
Yeah, and another thing, you said to stop putting, sharing all the sweet and fatty recipes. So I've stopped that.
Yeah, if I wanted to go and have like super unhealthy fudge, I know whose Facebook page I would go to. So we just got to get out of that mindset of sharing all the, don't even watch that stuff. That's like just adding it into, if you want to watch a cooking, baking show, go watch Alana's Instagram or Alana's Facebook page. Like, you have to start infusing yourself with the mentors who are going to keep you on track. And there are lots of healthy recipe videos out there. YouTube healthy recipes or healthy desserts. YouTube those things. Get off of tasty food. Get off of, those ones that give you all of the sweets. And I love baking too. I love cooking the comfort foods because I grew up that way. But I also know that those things don't serve me. We do not watch the Food Network in this house anymore. Several years ago, my daughter and we would sit there and watch Cupcake Wars all day long. Guess what I wanted to eat? Cupcakes. Guess what I wanted to make all the time? Cupcakes. Like, those are subliminal messages that you do not need. So you gotta, at some point, you gotta start cutting those things out. And yes, you are right. You have not been sharing those things. But I do know.
I'm drinking more water.
Perfect. You got a new water bottle. Good.
Yeah.
But I do know, so talking about the things, the infusing yourself and replacing watching those videos that might not have, you know, healthy content. Anyone who's watching this recording, you know, I do see your guys' posts to Facebook sometimes too. And, you know, that's not just Angela who used to do that, but some of you guys too. So that absolutely goes to everybody. You know, you just got to be mindful of what you're putting into your circle. And that's one of them for sure. So real quick, when I was in the hospital, this was many years ago, I had a hysterectomy that just kind of went haywire. I didn't eat for like 3 days, and they wouldn't let me leave the hospital until I pooped. And I obviously, to poop, you have to eat, and I just couldn't. Rob put on the Food Network, and they had a how to make pizza, like all of the best pizza places. Guess what I did the next day? I freaking ate because I was hungry. Like it's powerful, those messages that you get. I mean, that was definitely something that to me was very eye-opening. Like, whoa, yeah.
So there's this personal development book that I read, and I can't remember which one it is, but so basically in our world, there's 4 food industries, and they all rack to show us unhealthy foods, like certain commercials, things like that, like Food Network. But they go as so far as, like, you know, the HGTV channel, like where it has nothing to do with food at all. It's just like homes and whatnot. The trends that series puts out, like as far as color schemes for your house, ties into teaching you to eat bad foods. Like they want to, like I read this thing where it promotes to have darker colors in your house because you feel cozier, and if you have a white couch, you're less likely to eat your dinner in front of the TV on your couch because you might get stains on it. But if you have a dark brown couch or a black couch or whatever, you're more like, it'll be fine. Then you're just binge eating, and they promote certain color schemes so that you do certain things toward food. And it was mind-blowing, and I now have a tan color couch because of that.
Totally makes sense. Absolutely makes sense. I have white pillows on my couch, and we can't eat over there, which is obviously in front of our TV. So yeah, totally makes sense. When people show kitchens on HGTV, what's on the island? Cookies, cupcakes, cake, muffins. Every time on the counter in the kitchen, there's unhealthy food. Every time. In the cabinets, you've got alcohol and wine, and yeah, it's everywhere. And that's why in the beginning when I started off with, you know, if you're trying to lose weight, it's because you have bad habits. That's the bottom line. I mean, it really, truly is. Yeah, you might have a physical ailment, or you might have something physically internally wrong with your thyroid or your system, but the bottom line is you're overweight because you've overeaten. You're overweight because you eat crappy food and you have succumbed to the environment in which we live. And we have to fight against that every single day. Every choice you make is, do I do what everybody else is doing, or do I stick to my goals and want to become the healthiest person that I can? And it literally is in our face 24/7. I think about food all the time. It is around me all the time. I think about what I'm going to eat for breakfast, lunch, dinner. Like, it's part of my life every single day. And you have to make those choices on a daily basis. Sometimes it's minute by minute, right? Like sometimes you have to fight through, and it seems so unfair. Doesn't it seem so unfair when you see people who are out there who are thin and they're like eating gobs of pizza, and you're like that is not fair. But here's the thing. Internally, they're sluggish. They don't feel good. And that shit's going to catch up with them. It will always catch up with them. So when I moved to Frisco from California, my friends, my friend's circle in California was very unhealthy. We went out and ate at Red Robin. We had burgers, we had pizza, we had like friend get-togethers once a week where we ate the shittiest food. And when I moved here in this world of Frisco moms, like it's actually a thing, Frisco moms, and they're all like done up. They've had plastic surgery. They're skinny. They've got Botox faces, but they have these perfect little bodies. And I was like, where am I? Like, what is this environment? But what shocked me was that these women who could eat whatever the hell they wanted, they chose to eat healthy food. And that, when I moved here, was when I realized, like, I really, truly, I've looked at people like them from California and like, whatever, they just have good genes. No, they don't. They don't eat shit. They don't eat a whole pizza. They don't sit down and down a bottle of wine every single, well, some of them do, but then they're eating really healthy on the other hand. Like, it's they balance it. And I didn't realize that if you really, truly, the people who are thinner and who are fit, they work for that shit. Muscles don't grow themselves. There is not a pill. There is nothing that is going to make muscles. Yeah, you can get implants, butt implants and pec implants, which are basically boob implants. You can get biceps, like people get biceps, but that's not natural stuff. And that's just weird, because what if you fall on your ass? Like, I always think if I fall on my chest, like, what will happen? Well, I guess we know. I guess we know. Your boobs will not, yeah. I, of all people, should not have said that. Okay. Anything else, ladies? No. Okay. Oh, this was a good call. I think we shared a lot of good things. So, okay. Then I will see you guys in the group. Again, if anybody who is watching, even if you're watching the replay, let me know if you want to be in the 3-week challenge group, and I will get you added in there. And the challenge group is basically just to go in and log your shakes and log your workouts. That's all you have to do. You don't even necessarily have to do a picture. I prefer your pictures to be in the studio, so that the people who aren't in the group can see that too and can be motivated to get up and work out, because they can see that you're doing it too. But in the 3-week challenge tracker app, you basically go in, let me know when you got your shake drank, let me know when you got your workout in. It literally is just a quick little press of the button, and then every Sunday we're going to do the leaderboard. And that's how you're going to get accountability and support for what it is that you're doing in that group. Does that make sense? Yep. Okay, cool. All right, ladies, have a great night, and we'll see you in the group, okay? Bye.